This new approach to sewing will change my handmade wardrobe forever. I started sewing clothes a few years ago, but it quickly turned into a full-time business. And what that means is I was making clothes for other people rather than for myself. The reason that that's important is because I was creating a lot of sewing content back then, but it was for my business and not for personal use. A handful of months ago, I decided to pivot my business and start making clothes for myself. And naturally, that meant starting my own personal sewing Instagram. So although I've been sewing for a few years now, I didn't really know anything about the sewing Instagram community until very recently, which means this is my very first year hearing about the Make 9 sewing challenge. I started seeing a handful of the people that I follow posting about this Make 9 challenge, and I wanted to learn more about it, so I did a quick little Google research. So what I found from Google is that the Make 9 challenge was started in 2015 by someone named Rochelle. Their goal was to make a gentle and self-guided challenge that would be individualized to your personal wants and needs. But what I found after taking a little scroll on Instagram under the Make 9 challenge hashtag is that a lot of people take this challenge very seriously. Now what I mean by that is people are choosing 9 different specific patterns that they want to make this year. And while that approach might work for you, it's definitely not going to work for me. If I chose specific patterns, I worry that it would pigeonhole my creativity throughout the year. So instead, what I want to do is use the Make 9 challenge as a guide. So without further ado, let's get into my Make 9. So my Make 9 started in my closet where I did a little bit of an assessment. And in this assessment, I found a few things. Not only did I want to know where the gaps were in my wardrobe, but I also wanted to know the things that I absolutely love and kind of narrow down why I love them. Then after my assessment was finished, I went over to Pinterest. Now I know that not everyone uses Pinterest, and if that's you, that's totally okay. If you're following along, you can use whatever platform you'd like to find your inspiration from. One other place that I can personally recommend is the Save section on your Instagram. I'm always saving my favorite pictures and reels, so if you are too, that's a great place to start. So when I was scrolling through my own Pinterest, I found a handful of trends. And I don't mean trends in the typical sense of like what's trendy this season, but more so I was seeing items, styles, and silhouettes that I had pinned over and over again. And I don't mean over and over again in the recent months, but more so over and over again over years of time. Now, maybe you don't have a backlog of pictures like this, but I bet there are times where you go into your closet and try to find an outfit and you think to yourself, wow, I wish I had X, Y, or Z, it would really enhance my wardrobe. So let's go ahead and gather all those thoughts and put them onto paper. So what I found worked really well for me was going through my Pinterest and saving each picture that related to a trend that I was seeing. Then I organized them all into a folder on my desktop and I went over to Canva. If you've never used Canva before, you're definitely missing out. It's a free platform and it's great for making content and putting all of your ideas in one place. So on Canva, I created a page with 9 photos. Each photo represents a concept that I want to bring to life this year. I do have patterns in mind for some of them, but I'm leaving it open-ended and I'm not committing to any specific pattern. That way, if my idea changes throughout the year or if a new pattern comes out that's better suited to the idea, I have full creative freedom to do whatever I want. So now let's talk about make number 1. These makes aren't in any specific order, so I'm gonna make them whenever I feel like it throughout the year, but number 1 is a quilted coat. I do already have a quilted coat in my closet that I absolutely love and I've worn to death over the years. Actually, let me go get it and show you. Okay, I just pulled this out of the laundry because I literally wore it like 5 times last week and it definitely needs a wash. But that does go to show how often I actually wear this coat. So I picked this coat up from a vintage store a few years ago and it very quickly became a staple in my wardrobe. It's just so easy and versatile and cozy. It's perfect to throw over a dress or really any outfit for that matter. It has a slightly cropped body, which I really like, but because it has a cropped body, that also means that it has really, really cropped sleeves. Now, I don't particularly mind the cropped sleeves. In a lot of situations, it doesn't really look weird. However, jackets are supposed to keep you warm, and this one only does that in certain circumstances, like if it's summer. So because I know that I wear this jacket a ton, there's total proof of concept there. So I know that if I make something similar with a few adjustments, I'm gonna get a lot of wear out of it. It'll also be filling a hole in my closet because it'll definitely keep me warmer than this one. So for my handmade quilted coat, I plan to have a coat that has a cropped body, extra long sleeves, and buttons down the front. I also noticed that every single one of the coats that I pinned have vertical seam lines, so I think that's what I'll be doing for mine as well. As with pretty much every make in this Make 9, as well as every make that I pretty much ever make, I plan to do this in a solid neutral color because that's what I tend to wear the most. Okay, now let's move on to the next pieces of my Make 9, and I'm going to cover all of the tops together. together. So while I was doing my wardrobe assessment, I realized that I have a real lack in tank tops. In my closet, I pretty much only have tank tops and long sleeves. I don't know what it is about short sleeves, but they are not my jam. They do not feel like me, and every time I put them on, I just don't feel comfortable. I think it has to do with the proportions of my biceps, but regardless of the reason, I definitely know that I like to steer clear of t-shirts, and I would much prefer to wear a tank top when it's warm out. There's one top in my closet that I by far and away get the most wear out of and have for years now, and that is a cropped high neck fitted top. It's honestly super easy to make, but after years and years of wearing it, I realized that I want something a little bit more flavorful than what I already have. So when scrolling through my Pinterest, I tried to find all of the tank tops that I pinned and what the differences were between them. I found that there were very subtle things that I liked, and I think they would be really easy to execute. So here are the top 3 that I want to make this year. The first is a fitted singlet, which is very similar to the top that I wear all the time. The difference is that I want to make a long version, and I also want to have ribbing around the arms and the neck hole. I'm thinking that the Bloma tank by Paradise Patterns is going to be the perfect pattern for this project, but like I said before, I'm keeping it open-ended, so if I change my mind in the future, I'm not stuck to only doing this specific pattern. Next up is a top similar to the one that I'm wearing right now, except I want to make it in a short sleeve version. I actually did already make a short sleeve version, and I absolutely loved it and wore it all the time until I ruined it by trying to fix it. Basically, after a handful of wears, I realized that the armpit was a little bit higher than I wanted to, so without doing any real measurements, I cut out a new armhole, which ended up being far too big, so I'm gonna remake that top, but I think I want to do something that's less fitted and a little bit more slouchy. The reason that I want it to be slouchier is simply because I want another silhouette option in my wardrobe that I don't currently have. Okay, now on to the last top, and that's going to be a semi-fitted, high square neck top. Again, this style is already a proof of concept in my wardrobe, but adding something with the square neck is just going to be another point of interest for my outfits. Now let's move on to the next item, and that's going to be a denim chore coat. I've always loved the style of a simple chore coat, but I kind of steered clear from it because I didn't want to wear denim on my upper half. Something about it just didn't seem like it was going to be comfortable, but after having more experience with lots of different kinds of fabric, I know that I can find something that's supple and soft but also looks like denim. That way I can completely get rid of this idea of making a coat that's not going to be comfortable because I know that I get to choose my own fabric. The silhouette that I want to make for this coat is going to be very similar to the quilted coat, but I think I want it to be longer. Now the other difference besides the length of the two coats is that the denim coat is going to be significantly more lightweight than obviously the quilted coat is going to be. That way I can have two coats that go with pretty much every single outfit, and I'm covered for when it's colder and for when it's a little warmer. Okay, it's time to move on to shorts. I used to own this beautiful pair of vintage shorts, but unfortunately I eventually grew out of them, and so I no longer own them. But they were the most flattering and comfortable jean shorts I've ever worn. To this day, I haven't been able to find anything like it that fits me, so I decided it's time to finally make it. Basically, I want a high-waisted pair of shorts that's fitted at the waist and a little bit baggier everywhere else. That way, there's no discomfort in the crotch area, and it's not going to feel too sticky when it's warm out. Now, if you've been following my sewing journey at all, you know that I'm in love with my Helen jeans, so I'm going to make the Helen jeans in a short version. Out of all of my Make 9s, this is the only one that I know exactly which pattern I'm going to use. And that's because the Helen jeans are an absolute TNT pattern for me. I've made them multiple times and every single one of them gets a lot of wear. The design also has that breathability in the crotch and the thigh area, so it's perfect for what I'm looking for. Okay, now let's move on to the next, and that is trouser shorts. In my closet right now, I actually only have 2 pairs of shorts, and they're both the bisque trousers by Vivienne Xiaochen. While I absolutely love my bisque trousers, and I'm actually even wearing a pair right now, I do want a pair of shorts that's a little bit more elevated than something with an elasticated waist. So I plan to make a pair of shorts that have 2 pleats at the front and a fitted waist. Also, in general, trousers have that breathability that I'm looking for in the crotch and the leg area. Okay, now next up on my Make 9 is a long sleeve dress. I don't own any long sleeve dresses, and I found that this winter I've been really craving wearing a dress, but I don't really have anything that's suitable for this time of year. So while scrolling through my Pinterest, I found that I pinned a ton of long sleeve dresses, and the thing that was similar between each and every one of them was the silhouette of the sleeve. I don't exactly know what I want the bodice to look like yet, but I do know that I want to have a long puff sleeve, and I want the rest of the dress to feel really like flowy and comfortable. That way it'll be an easy and comfortable dress to wear when it's colder out. Also, I know that not everyone can wear a long sleeve dress during winter, especially depending on where you live, but personally, I live in Southern California, so a long sleeve dress will do just fine. The last thing on my Make 9 list is a long pair of pleated trousers. I have a ready-to-wear pair of pleated trousers that I wear all of the time, so I know that it's something that I would get a lot of wear out of, and I'm really excited to make one. In the past, I tried making the assembly line trousers, and they weren't quite my favorite, so I'm still on the hunt for the perfect pattern. I recently purchased the Daphne trousers by Vicky Sews, so I think I'm going to try them out for this make. If it ends up going well and I love them, this is probably the same pattern that I'll use for the pleated shorts. However, if the Daphne trousers don't go as planned, I'll try a different pattern for the pleated shorts because I'm on the hunt for the perfect pair of handmade trousers. I do also have my eye on the Billy trousers by Bella Loves Patterns, but I'm gonna hold off on buying that one until after I've made my Daphne trousers. So while the Make 9 challenge might not be a new approach to sewing for you, it definitely is for me. This is the first year that I'm doing it, and I really do think that it's gonna change my handmade wardrobe forever. The reason that I say that is because I'm using my Make 9 to guide my year of makes. By doing an audit on my wardrobe, I specifically found where the gaps are, so that hopefully by the end of the year, I'll have a really good basis of staples for my closet. And doing that will actually set the tone for the rest of my wardrobe forever. I can't tell you how excited I am about this Make 9. I spent a lot of time going through my Pinterest and making these really curated boards. I'm very proud of all the inspiration that I compiled because I really feel like it's a good reflection of my personal style. So if I'm really intentional this year and I get through all of these makes, I think I'm gonna be in the perfect situation to love my wardrobe. And while there are a lot of aspects of my wardrobe that I love right now, it's definitely got some holes and I'm super excited to fill them. Now, if you've decided to do a Make 9 this year, I'd love to hear what you're making in the comments down below. And if you like this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe because I have a lot more sewing content over on my channel. Thanks for being here, and I will see you in the next one.